Hello everybody, my name is Oriane, I am product owner at Odoo. During this last talk of the day, we will see together how you can subcontract manufacturing efficiently in Odoo. So, first of all, what's subcontracting? So, subcontracting is the fact that you, as a contractor, will send some raw materials to a subcontractor. The subcontractor will make the manufacturing process for you and will send you back the finished product. If I take an example, I have a wood furniture shop. I make the process of manufacturing from my wood furniture, but I'm not really good at electricity and I would like to sell some lamps. So I will send the raw materials to my subcontractor, who will make the manufacturing process and send me my lamps back in my warehouse. More and more companies are using subcontracting at the moment because there are lots of advantages. So the first one is the flexibility. In all the businesses, you have up and downs, and you don't really want to have to hire people and then lay them off when you're in a down. So with subcontracting, you can have more or less subcontracting contracts, not to have to change the number of people you have. The labor cost is also quite low, so even if you have some specialized people, they cost you less, thanks to the fact that you don't have to pay for social security, leave, or training of those people. You also have a limited capital investment, so if I don't have the machine to make the electricity work myself, it's not a problem. My subcontractor will do it, I don't have to invest. I can then focus on my core business, make my wood furniture, and let them do everything which is related to building my lamps. So in the end, there are mutual benefits, because I will be able to sell more products. I can gain contract thanks to the fact that I have a bigger offer, and my subcontractor will also be able to work on some contract that he would not have gained by himself, thanks to the fact that we work together. But there are also a few challenges in subcontracting. As you can see, you have to send the components to the subcontractor, so you need to know what's its inventory level. So that's something which is quite important, to know when to replenish him and to make sure he then sends you your product in time. Communication is also quite important, so you have to let him know when you will need the finished product, but also what's possible in terms of delivery lead times for the components, for example. And in the end, even if you don't manufacture the products yourself, you would like to know what's part of the product you will sell to your customers. So you have to know how they have been built and what's the components which have been used during the manufacturing process. So I will suggest you to keep those challenges in mind during the presentation, and at the end I will come back to them and explain how does Odoo help you to work better and tackle those challenges. So we will now see together how you can configure the specific document to work with subcontracting in Odoo. The first thing to do is to create some subcontracting bill of material. So we will work with a classic bill of material, but you will specify who is the subcontractor who will make the manufacturing process for you on the bill of material. For the subcontracted product, in fact, this product will be a product you will buy. So even if you have a bill of material, you don't have to think you will use a manufacturer route. It will be a buy route, and you can then decide to keep some stock of the finished product, use reordering rules to replenish it, or work in make to order and just order the finished product to the subcontractor when yourself get an order from your customer. You then have to set some supplier price list if you work with automated replenishment in order for Odoo to create the purchase order for you to the subcontractor. Last thing to configure will be your components. So as you have to resupply the subcontractor, you have to decide how you will do so. The first way to do it is manually. You can simply check the different subcontracting location you have, what's the current stock level, and decide, if necessary, to make a delivery order from your own stock to the stock of the subcontractor. That's an easy way to do so, but not really practical. There are two other ways. We created a new route for you, which is resupply subcontractor on order. So on the component, you could decide to use this route and simply define the fact that when you will order some finished product to the subcontractor, you would like him to receive the components which are necessary to build the product. So you can decide to use this route. And in the end, you can also decide to always have some minimum stock at the subcontracting location for your components and set some reordering rules directly on the subcontracting location of the subcontractor in question. So I suggest you to have a look at the database and how you can do so in Odoo. So it's part of the manufacturing application, so you will need to go to the settings and activate the subcontracting option. Once it's done, you have your bill of materials. You see here that they are grouped by type, so I will go in one of my subcontracting bill of material and open it. You have the usual bill of materials, so you have the finished product that will be produced by the subcontractor and the components which are part of it. Here, I specify that I have a subcontracting bill of material and that my subcontractor will be Azure Interior. On my components, 2 of them are configured to be resupplied on order to the subcontractor, meaning when I will order him my office lamp, I will need to send him some lampshade and lamp bases for him to be able to make the manufacturing process. My finished product on his side has a buyer route, so I will create the purchase order manually in my case, but I could have used some reordering rules to replenish the product. So that's all about configuration. When configuration is done, you will simply have to receive, in fact, the subcontracted product in your stock. So thanks to the fact that Odoo knows what's the product in the receipt and who is the person who is sending you the product, it will be able to make the magic of subcontracting. Meaning Odoo will decrease the number of raw materials at the subcontracting place and increase the number of finished product in your place when you will validate the reception of the product. If we have a case which is a bit more complex with tracked finished product and or tracked components, you will also have the possibility to record the components which have been used in the manufacturing process. So it means that if some lot numbers or serial numbers have been used in one specific finished product, you will be able to specify it when receiving the product so that the traceability is kept, even if you don't do the manufacturing process yourself. So I suggest you to go again to the database. So what I will do is I will create a purchase order for my subcontractor, who is Azure Interior, and I will order him my office lamp. So I can save and confirm the fact that I order this product to the subcontractor, and Odoo will generate the usual receipt of the finished product. As I told you before, for this product, I also set some components as being resupplied to the subcontractor on order. So Odoo generates me a delivery order to deliver those components to the subcontractor. So here you see I have a lampshade and a lamp base to deliver. I will just check that I have them in stock and validate the delivery. Now, my subcontractor has the components and can make the manufacturing process, meaning I will be able to myself receive the finished product in stock. So if I come back to my inventory, I have the receipt, which has been generated from the purchase order, and I am able to simply validate it to make the finished product enter my stock. By doing so, Odoo will also decrease the number of components at the subcontracting location. So it will be like if the manufacturing process took place at the subcontractor place, and then the product has been sent to my own place. So that's the easy way when you have no tracked components in the finished product. If you have some tracked components, you would like to be able to enter them. So I will make a purchase also for my second lamp, which is also a subcontracted product. And I will confirm the order. In this case, on my receipt, I see a new button, which is the record component button, which will allow me to specify what's the serial number of the finished product, but also what's the serial number of my lamp-based component that I would like to track. So I will just be able to add it and then save. At this point, I can now receive the product because I specified what it was made of. So if I validate it, I receive my product in stock. You see here that I have a specific subcontracting icon, which appears on the line. And if I click on it, I can find back information about which raw materials have been used to build this finished product. So I can find information back about all the raw materials which have been used. I could also find it here, thanks to the traceability button, which gives me access to all the components which have been used in the manufacturing process which took place at my subcontracting location. So we saw how to receive the product. There is one last important point to see. It's about valuation. The most important part of it is the fact that the components which are at the subcontracting place are still considered as your own stock. So they will be valued in your own warehouse. Besides that, if you work with automated valuation and FIFO or AFCO costing method, the finished product value will be computed based on the value of its component plus the service that you pay to the subcontractor. If I come back to the example I made, we'll just come back to my last purchase order. Here you see I received this product. I paid it $250 to the subcontractor, which is in fact the cost of the service. If I go to the valuation button, I see that my inventory valuation decreases by $110, which is the value of the component, and increases by the value of the finished product, which is $360, meaning the sum of the service I paid to the subcontractor and the component value. If we come back to the challenges we saw at the beginning, we can easily see that Odoo allows you to track inventory level of the components at the subcontracting place. You can do it in the 3 ways we saw, either manually or by using automated replenishment strategies like resupply subcontractor on order, or like using reordering rules on the specific subcontracting location of the subcontractor. By default, you will have one subcontracting location, but in case you work with lots of them, you can of course duplicate it and assign each specific location to the right subcontractor on their contact form. Communication, it's quite easy with Odoo. You saw that when we order the finished product to the subcontractor, you make a purchase order. So you can communicate by sending the usual email of the purchase order, adding some notes if necessary, and if the subcontractor is not able to manage the delay you ask him or meet the deadline, he will be able to answer to the email. You will keep it on the chatter of the purchase order, and you will know what's happening with the specific order. Communication, there is also an improvement which has been made in V13, which allows you from the delivery order to send automated emails or automated SMS when delivery has been validated. It means that in case you send the product, the component, to the subcontractor, you can warn him by sending him an automated email or SMS informing him that the product will come to the stock. It will allow him to plan his production and make sure you will receive your finished product in stock in time. And the last challenge was the traceability. So we thought together that if you have the manufacturing process, which uses some components which are tracked, you have the possibility, when receiving the finished product, to specify which components have been used. And so you keep track of everything which has been done at the subcontracting location, and you're still able to communicate this information with the customer. So if you have some lot which are not good enough, you can find back in which finished product they have been used and warn your customer if it's necessary. So that's all for me. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them.